Thank you for joining me today. I think you're going to go through a whole range of emotions as we talk of our topic today. At least I did, because I can't think of a time when I was more upset about what was taking place in the news and what I just saw in terms of the release of some of the hostages. And yet the ray of hope that we have, not just because of things in Israel, but around the world, because all of it points to the hope that we have in Christ. He's our blessed hope. And that's how come I say our hope. I know for the Jewish people, it might be the third temple. But for those that are believers in Jesus Christ, it's the appearing of Jesus Christ. How close are we to the coming of Christ for the church? Well, I think today we're going to be able to put some things into perspective. So I want you to join me as we talk about from mourning to hope in the third temple. You know, one of the things that was shocking to me this past week is the situation with the hostages. I continue to marvel at the exchange rate. Yeah, I said the exchange rate. Because here we are releasing hostages whose only crime was to be born Jewish. And we're releasing terrorists. Matter of fact, some of them 369 terrorists for 3 hostages. Oh, incredible ratio, isn't it? 123 per. It's amazing. And it continues on. And so there was a ray of hope. There was a ray of hope because they were going to release a family, probably the best known family in all of this. And so sure enough, here we are. We see that there's a mother, her 2 children. They came back in caskets. We suspected for a long time that they had passed. But I want to show you just a minute-long clip of the release of the coffins, the celebration. Yes, this is what made me very upset from mourning. The whole state of Israel is in mourning because of not just the fact that they were killed, but the celebration is something to behold. Yes, quite a celebration, almost like a parade, a victory parade. And that's what they considered it. But let me tell you, they snuffed out the life of those 2 babies and the mother. Unbelievable what is taking place. But let me tell you, the whole nation, look at this. The nation mourns the family as the bodies are transferred. I don't think it's going to be forgotten. Matter of fact, as you look at the picture, here's an 80-some-year-old man that body was returned. Here's a mother and her 2 children. It's gripped the whole country. Let me tell you, the whole idea of exchanging terrorists for kidnapped people was at the breaking point to begin with, and now it's over the breaking point. And even the agony and pain, that's the words. There are no words for the Israeli leaders to describe the grief over the hostage bodies that were returned from Gaza. This will not be forgotten. Not in their country and not even in America, because I want you to take a look at this. Here's the headline from President Trump. President Trump was watching this on an Israeli news channel. He says, I want to see Gaza wiped out. I don't want to see even one building standing. I really believe that this may raise the rage to a whole nother level, from mourning to hope. And so what else is taking place in the news, if that's not enough? Well, quite a story. Quite a story as we look at the Ukraine-Russian war. Have you noticed several things that are taking place? I show you this headline because here it says, signals a new world order taking shape. Unbelievable how the nations have lined up against Israel, according to Ezekiel 38 and 39. And now a new world order is taking shape because it now appears that they don't really want the war to end. Wait before you judge me for that statement, because it looks like the war has been very profitable for certain people in Ukraine, and maybe even profitable for people in America, because all of a sudden billions of dollars have disappeared. All this aid that was being given, and all of a sudden we find that this man who was supposedly for the Ukrainian people, now he's become independently wealthy. He doesn't want the war really to end. Something strange is going on there. It's even strange that the United States would meet with Saudi Arabia to talk about ending the war with Russia. Let me tell you, I don't know that I trust the leaders of either Ukraine or Russia. Why? Because I think there's profitable things that take place in this war. Hopefully, by God's grace, the war will end. Here's why. Innocent people are being killed. I don't know that they know Christ. That's my concern. But I think the headline, New World Order is taking shape, that's a key headline. We'll have to deal with that in some of the other programs that we have. Now let's go back to the Middle East for a minute, because here's what we discovered just recently. To try to get Gaza to move forward with releasing the hostages, the United States announced that even though Congress had approved a larger bomb, a 2,000-pound bomb, as opposed to just the smaller ones of 500 pounds. In other words, one that was approved was 4 times bigger. And so here's this news article, the mother of all bombs, called MOAB. And essentially, not only have we now given it to Israel, but we said, you know what, it's justified to use it. That's why I showed you that first clip. You can see why they're justified to use it. But that's just part of the story. I think there's some retaliation that's going to come. I think the ceasefire may never last. I think it's going to take an antichrist. It's going to take someone very special to make a peace treaty that will be confirmed. But the whole thing is that they might confirm it. Why? Because by Passover of this year, they want to begin sacrifices again. They want to begin worship on the Temple Mount. Keep these things in mind as they all converge together. Here's another headline that was shocking. Well, it happened to the chemical weapons in Syria. Yeah, Syria is toppled. But unfortunately, the weapons, the nuclear weapons, they're left there by Russia, left there by Iran, under the control of Syria. Now they're up for grabs, and lots of people want them. Oh yeah, Russia says those are ours. Iran says, well, these are our weapons. They don't want to acknowledge that they're chemical weapons. And there's a newcomer to the whole thing. We'll look at him in a minute. Think about this, chemical weapons in Syria. Have you read what takes place in the tribulation? The disaster that takes place, the flesh melting from the face of the people? Who knows, but this could be the very thing that the Bible's talking about. But I mentioned that this whole thing has newcomers who claim it. And so let me introduce you to one. I've talked about it before, Erdogan, president of Turkey. Oh yeah, he wants something much bigger. Look at his headline. This is from a newscast in Turkey. Turkey is much bigger than Turkey. And so even though most of the article is going to be in the Turkish language, it is translated for you. I want you to see what he has in mind. Let me just warn you. He thinks Turkey is bigger than Turkey. In other words, he's ready to expand. He wants to include the Golan Heights. He wants to include Syria. He wants to include Israel. He wants to include Gaza. My friend, we have a major player, but isn't it one of the nations that the Bible said would come against Israel in the last days? Exactly as the Bible says. We're watching it take place. My friend, this last week has fulfilled so many Bible prophecies and lined up others. I think it's a special week in terms of us knowing that our blessed hope is about to come. Listen to this newscast.
Türkiye'den daha büyüktür. Millet olarak ufkumuzu 782 bin kilometre kareyle sınırlandıramayız. İnsan nasıl kaderinden kaçarak kurtulamazsa, Türkiye ve Türk milleti de mukadderatından kaçamaz, saklanamaz. Tarihin millet olarak bize yüklediği misyonu görmek, kabul etmek ve buna göre davranmak mecburiyetindeyiz. Türkiye'nin Libya'da, Suriye'de, Somali'de ne işi var diye soranlar bu vizyonu ve misyonu idrak edemeyebilir.
Yeah, he says, what are they doing in Libya, in Syria, in Somalia? My friend, do you see he's on a destiny kick? Russia is, Iran is, Turkey is. These are all countries that the Bible says will come against Israel. We're watching this take place. They have a vision much bigger than their own country, but it always includes taking Israel, just what the Bible said. Well, here's another report from Turkey. I want you to listen to this video. It's in English, and you'll get the point of what he's saying very clear and very quick.
Now, as a Turk, as a subject of the Ottoman Empire, I'm saying Trump. The last legitimate state of the Gazans is the Ottoman Empire. After that, the British mandate was established and they didn't grant citizenship. Then Israel is already illegitimate and they didn't grant any citizenship. As the Republic of Turkey, the legitimate successor of the Ottoman Empire, we should treat the Gazans as our natural compatriots and citizens. Let the Gazans hold a referendum and join Turkey as an autonomous region until Palestine is established. As an autonomous region, the decision is for the Gazans. Do they think America will come and take over Gaza and we won't stand by the Gazans who fought alongside our ancestors and have never received any citizenship other than being Ottoman subjects?
Oh, now you get the connection? He's saying that Israel is illegitimate. He's saying that the last legitimate government to have control of Gaza and the Palestinians is the Ottoman Empire. And so now they're saying, okay, that's why it should be ours. So here they are. They're saying we're going to go after the Golan Heights. We're going to go after Syria. We're going to go after Israel. We're going to go after the Gaza Strip. Oh, my friend, we're watching the players line up exactly as the Bible said. You see, from mourning to hope, our hope is this, that the Bible is exactly true, and God gives us a blessed hope, and that blessed hope is the coming of Christ. I want to warn you that we're living in the last days. Among the indicators of the last days is what it says in Hosea chapter 3. It says that in the latter years, in the latter days, Israel's going to have no sacrifice for a long time. But after Israel returns to its land, it's going to seek a sacrifice, a priesthood. My friend, that's the subject that's of great hope in Israel, a third temple, even the slaughter of the red heifer. I'm going to show you parts of 3 or 4 clips. All of these clips are going to be posted on our website, so you can look at the entire thing. Some of them are 30 minutes long. We're just going to watch a couple minutes. But I want you to see the excitement with all the mourning, with all the devastation, with the threat of chemical warfare, with the threat of exchanging hostages for terrorists. There is a hope, and their hope is that temple. My friend, my hope is not a temple. My hope is the person of Jesus Christ. But watch, listen to what's taking place. I hope you're going to get as excited as I am as you see all of the news focusing on the rebuilding of the temple. You know what that says? It says that there's coming a time very soon when that temple is going to be ready. But the Bible says they're going to be without a temple. They're going to be without a sacrifice until the latter days. You'll know when the latter days comes because there'll be the talk and the actual doing of rebuilding the temple. Well, here's part of the first clip.
But tell me about what it was like to be with these red heifers, and what do you feel prophetically about the significance of that?
Yeah, this was the third time that I've been privileged to be there in Shiloh with the red heifers. And again, this one was for an assignment of, video footage. But I was able to learn a lot. I've become really good friends with the farmer. His name's Larry, that takes care of the red heifers. Of course, they came in, 5 years ago from Texas. 3 of them have already kind of aged out of the priestly process, and they're no longer, able to use them because they have, white hairs. I mean, these things are inspected on a very regular basis. Yeah. And so 3 of them are still very much ready for a ceremony. And, a lot of people think, oh, you should be messing with the red heifers because that's all about, sacrifice for sin. When the problem is they misunderstand the Bible and Jewish history. The sacrifice of the red heifer has nothing to do with sin. Jesus took care of that for us. The sacrifice of the red heifer cleanses the priest from death. so that he's then able to sprinkle the sacrifice and bring about what they call the water of life. And so it's not a sin sacrifice, it's a death sacrifice. And so it's very interesting when you study it.
Yeah.
But, regardless if people understand it or even like it or even appreciate it, it's going to happen. They're already in the process of doing the practice, and they are going to do the ceremony of the red heifer. And that is going to bring in the third temple, and that is going to bring in a lot more end times than people really want to talk about. Because we love to think, oh, yeah, we got 50 more years. Nope, I'm telling you. And with Trump being in office, he's accentuating what's happening in a good way, because prophetically, man, he's coming in, taking over, Gaza, the relocation of the Gazans, and now God's calling more of the Jewish people back from around the world. And so it's really a very interesting time to live. So when Jesus says, lift up your eyes, your redemption draws nigh, I'm literally sitting at a place where it's going to happen. Because I want to remind people, you can be as critical of Israel as you want to, but where I'm sitting, right behind that wall, on that Temple Mount, that's where Jesus is coming back. He's not coming back to the White House. He's coming back to Jerusalem. And so there's something very spiritually significant about this land.
Well, pretty exciting report. I like the fact that he says, you know what, it has to do with the water of life. You see that the sacrifice for sin is over. That's Christ. But they are trying to build a third temple, a third place to do sacrifices and do ceremonies. And it is going to be in the Temple Mount. And we know in order for them to get there, there's got to be some kind of a not just a ceasefire, but a peace agreement. And Daniel 9:27 says it will be confirmed. The only way to make it is to confirm it, and that will be an Antichrist. He'll promise 7 years, and he'll break the promise in the middle. Matthew chapter 24, verse 15 makes it clear. Daniel chapter 9, verses 27 through 29 make it very clear. Revelation chapter 13 makes it very clear that he will demand they stop the sacrifices, they worship him. My friend, we're on the brink of all this taking place. Now I want to shift from the Western Wall. I want to go to the Temple Institute. These are people. We'll watch a couple clips from that. The entire clip will be posted on our website if you want to see more of it. And they're going to talk to you from a Jewish perspective about what's taking place with all the excitement concerning the resuming of sacrifices again. Here's our first clip. Listen to this important announcement that they are making.
אני אחראי על המכון התורני, בית הבחירה. לפני כשנתיים הגיעו ארצה 5 פרות אדומות. מצאו שהן אדומות תמימות, בלי שום שערות שחורות או לבנות. כעת, אחרי שהפרות כבר פה, יש לנו עוד הרבה הכנות לעשות, למצוא את המקום המתאים, וצריך להיות מול מקום המקדש. צריך להיות עם כהן שהוא בעצמו טהור. רק בעזרת הפרה האדומה נוכל להיחלץ מהטומאה, להיות טהורים לגמרי, ונוכל לגשת למצוות של המקדש וגם תרומות ומעשרות בצורה תקינה כמו שהתורה מצווה.
אני שמשון אלבוים, ואחת הפעולות המשמעותיות שאני זוכה לעשות פה במסגרת המכון זה מה שנקרא תרגולי המקדש. אנחנו משחזרים מחדש את העבודה של בית המקדש בחגים. אנחנו זוכים לעשות אותם היום ממש למרגלות הר הבית, ובאמת יוצאים מפה עם דרישת מקדש בלב, וזה התרומה הגדולה של מכון המקדש לבניין המקדש.
שמי אברהם כהנא, אני בעצמי כהן, רכשתי סט של בגדי כהונה כדי שנוכל להיות מוכנים לבית המקדש. אנחנו עושים תרגולים מדי חג שמתקרב אלינו, אם זה קורבן פסח, ואם זה סוכות, אם זה ניסוך המים, וגם אנחנו מתכוננים כשנהיה מוכנים להתחיל לעבוד בבית המקדש.
שמי מנחם רוזנטל, הצטרפתי פה למכון לקדם יוזמות ופרויקטים חדשים, להקים את שירת הלוויים. העניין הזה נקום ונפעל למען כינון בית המקדש. לאסוף לוויים שבאים מכל קצוות הארץ, מהצפון עד הדרום, וללמוד ולשיר. זה לקום ולעשות מעשה שהם באמת מתכוננים לעמוד על הדוכן, לעמוד ולשרת.
My name is Rafaela. One of the exciting projects in the making now is publishing a new book in English about the meaning behind the services in the Holy Temple. We go into a chapter of the vessels of the Holy Temple. We speak about the daily service, the offerings in the Holy Temple. Every offering has a different message that God is speaking to us through this offering, and we are speaking to Him This book has tremendous significance for the people of Israel and for the whole world.
שלום, לי קוראים יהושע פרידמן. לפני מספר שנים מכון המקדש החליט להקים ישיבה גבוהה. המיוחד בישיבה שלנו שאנחנו לומדים גם את סדר קודשים וטהרות, כאשר הלימוד הוא מיוחד בכך שלומדים להלכה. כלומר, כל נושא שלומדים, אז יש דגש רב איך הדברים צריכים להיעשות בפועל ממש, מתוך ראייה שאנחנו אוטוטו בעזרת השם הולכים לקראת בניין המקדש.
Well, some of those people are my friends. I met them on a number of occasions. I don't agree with them in everything that they're saying, but I see their sincerity, and I see the progress they're making. Matter of fact, the tie I'm wearing is actually from the Temple Institute. So here's the Kohen, the young priest that they've made so that they're home birth, so that they don't be contaminated with death in a hospital, because the hospital not only gives birth, but it also has people that pass away. They're making sure that the young priests are home births, so they meet the specifications of purity. The choir, the instruments, the study, all of it taking place just to see exactly what the Bible said, that in the last days they'll be without a sacrifice, they'll be without an ephod, they'll be without all these things until the latter days. My friend, it's coming to pass. You're watching it, you're witnessing it. Well, let's continue. This will be the second video that we have posted on our website that you can see even more details, but here is more from the Temple Institute on their preparations.
Shalom, my name is Nathan Tzvi Brin. I'm a student, a Talmud at the Yeshivat HaMikdash. What's special about Yeshivat HaMikdash is that we learn really in order to do. My Rebbe is Rabbi Yeshua Friedman, and he drives us to think in a Geula mindset. We know that we have to mitkadem as much as we can to fulfill the mitzvahs that we're learning. We learn exactly those sugyas and practice them as if we're doing them, so that when the opportunity comes to really do it, we're ready to do it.
לי קוראים יצהר שריד, אני לומד בישיבת המקדש. בישיבה אנחנו עוסקים בלימוד קודשים וטהרות, דברים שקשורים לבית המקדש ולחיים בזמן הגאולה. זה סדר שמדבר על הלב של עם ישראל, על המקדש, שהוא זה שמזרים את הקדושה לתוך העולם. החזון שלי זה שבית המקדש שלנו יהיה מאות בחורים ואברכים ששוקדים יומם ולילה לפתח את התורה הענקית של בית המקדש, שבעזרת השם יביא לבניין המקדש במהרה, זה כמובן החזון של כולנו.
My name is Samara Hendrickson. I am the content manager for the online global community of the Temple Institute. Our department is responsible for the Holy Temple teachings that we put on our social media platforms. So the teachings are about the Holy Temple, even the minutest details in regards to the work that was done in the Holy Temple. Our mission is to reach everybody around the world and create one strong global community who are interested in learning about the importance of the Holy Temple.
שמי גלעד רוטשטיין, אני מנהל מכון המקדש. החזון שלנו במכון הוא להתקדם לקראת בניין בית המקדש במהרה בימינו. עכשיו משימתנו היא לקיים את הציווי האלוקי ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם, ובשביל לקיים את הנבואה ואת האמירה של הקדוש ברוך הוא שכי ביתי בתפילה יקרא לכל העמים. אנו רואים כבר היום שינוי גדול בתודעה הלאומית וברצון הלאומי להתקדם למקדש. חייבים לבצע את המשימה בכל הכוח ולהתקדם לבניין הבית במהרה בימינו.
שמי ישראל אריאל, לפני 57 שנה זכינו להיכנס יחד עם הצנחנים שכבשו את הר הבית ומקום המקדש. שם שרו, אמרו הלל, הייתה שמחה עצומה שהקיפה למעשה את כל כדור הארץ. עם ישראל זכה לנס הגדול לחזור למקום המקדש אחרי 2000 שנה. אנחנו יודעים את המציאות כרגע, זאת המשימה, העם היהודי חייב לחזור למקדש, ורק כשעם ישראל יחזור לבית המקדש, נזכה גם לשלום.
Notice the great variety of age, from young to old, from scholars to ordinary people. The excitement to bring about a third temple. Now, you know that I think that it could be the tabernacle of David. In other words, it could be erected in a few hours. That's how excited they are about it. I don't think they have to actually build a building, but I think it could be the tabernacle of David, a temporary building, one made of skins of animals and sheets of material. But you know what? It doesn't end there. Here's another video. And again, you're going to find the whole thing uploaded on our website. But this is by CBN News. I want you to listen to 4 clips The whole interview is much longer, but I think you'll find it to verify and to confirm that we're living in exactly the days the Bible spoke about when Israel would return to the land and return to their practices again. Listen to these clips.
Well, 3 years ago, the arrival of 5 red heifers in Israel attracted global attention. Well, today, those cows are in ancient Shiloh. CBN's Chris Mitchell explains the significance of this historic event.
Here in Shiloh, first time after 2,000 years, we have real kosher red heifers, which is really exciting.
Mariah Shapira is the manager of the visitor center at ancient Shiloh and explains why the red heifers are so important.
In the Bible, it says when a person wants to enter the temple, which is called the house of life, he has to go through a process using ashes of the red heifer, meaning that the red heifers are actually the key to the temple.
Shapira says that process is for purification, to cleanse someone from death.
So a person that got in contact with death, either in a funeral or in a hospital, and he wants to enter the temple, which is called the house of life, full of the presence of God, has to go through this process. And the process is the priest used to take the ashes of the red heifer, mix it with water that comes from a spring, life water. He's actually taking the source of death, mixing it with source of life, and these together become the purifying water.
Jewish tradition maintains that the red heifer ashes are needed to rebuild the third temple. Some Christians believe a third temple would pave the way for the end times. Even Hamas reportedly blamed the red heifers in part for their invasion on October 7th, because the Al-Aqsa Mosque would be in danger if the heifers were used to build a third temple. The animals are also mentioned in the book of Numbers, chapter 19. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, saying, "This is the statute of the law which the Lord has commanded, saying, Speak to the sons of Israel, that they bring you an unblemished red heifer, in which there is no defect, and on which a yoke has never been mounted. And you shall give it to Eleazar the priest, and it shall be brought outside the camp and be slaughtered in his presence." To be selected, these qualifications must be met. Be an adult cow with reddish-brown hair, no hairs of a different color, no blemishes, and never used for any other purpose.
Wow, we've heard that before. We've been studying that for several years. It's the topic of interest in Israel today. But the clip is not done. Here's another quick segment of it.
Larry Barnschwager, a farmer from northern Indiana, takes care of them.
It's just a lot of fun to be involved in something that I see God is doing behind the scenes.
He says what he's experienced since arriving here is remarkable.
While I've been standing here at Shiloh, every continent, countries I never heard of before, were here to see the red heifers. There's something happening in Shiloh.
And Barnschwager believes it's biblically significant.
Ideas are becoming a reality.
Yeah, ideas are becoming a reality. That's taking place so quickly. But I'm not done. I want to show you other Bible teachers. You know, I remember the first time I started speaking about the red heifer, after talking to some of the people through the years over there, and people said, "Why don't you preach the Bible? Why don't you preach the New Testament?" I said, well, Hebrews is in the New Testament, and Hebrews does speak about the ashes of a heifer. And so we're watching people now. This whole thing is growing, taking momentum, but particularly it's given a hope for Israel. But will that hope turn into mourning? Will that hope bring in actually the end times, even the Antichrist? Well, here's another Bible teacher. Listen to what he has to say.
Shiloh has so much significance. It was the spiritual capital of Israel for 369 years.
During our visit, Bible teacher Dr. Todd Fink brought his group to see the red heifers.
This is huge. This is huge, and the one gal that was giving us the tour, she said that part of the reason why Hamas invaded is because of these red heifers. And according to prophecy, these red heifers are significant. From the time of Israel's history, they say that only 9 have been killed for these ashes. And so for these to be here in Shiloh here, and for that to fit in with what appears to be prophecy on the horizon, we're living in monumental days, unbelievable times.
Yes, unbelievable times. Now, I've told you in the past that not only is Israel looking for the red heifer and the ashes, matter of fact, some have been looking for the ancient Kalil, We've discussed that in other programs. But it's interesting because you see the Islamic world says whoever has the ashes will control the world. And now listen to this clip. This is the first time I've ever heard of this particular story. It has to do with China. Even China and their interest in the red heifer. Watch this.
To add to the mystery of this, I did a study of the Temple of Heaven in China. And in that, the emperor, as the Son of Heaven, was the only one who could give a sacrifice to an invisible God. And he was the only one entitled to do it. And what did he sacrifice? Well, he sacrificed an unblemished red heifer. They would search all of China to find one single heifer who was 2 years old and carefully carry that heifer to the Temple of Heaven for the Ming and Qing period. It was right outside the city of Beijing, and it was called the border sacrifice. Confucius, 500 BC, said, if you can understand the border sacrifice, if you can understand what that is and the significance of it, then you can rule China as easily as you can look at your hand. For Confucius, it was a mystery. I think it's a mystery still today. Why is this an ancient Chinese practice? Goes back for thousands of years. For the Jews, it goes back to Moses, and so it goes back 3,500 years. This is significant. Let's pay attention to it. Will there be an ordained priesthood again in Israel?
Wow, can you believe it? My friend, we're watching this take place. We're watching this in real time. But I have one more story that I want to weave together with all of this. And I think it's very significant. And I don't know that it's been shown very much on television. It's actually some new archaeological stuff that ties in perfectly with it. So let's begin by saying, you see, we've looked at this picture a number of times. Why did the Jews pray at the Western Wall? Well, that's the retaining wall, because that's the wall that makes it so that there's a flat top on the Temple Mount. And in old time, ancient time, there was a temple built there. Now, in the last 600 or 700 years, it's been replaced with the Dome of the Rock. And you see Al-Aqsa Mosque, the yellow picture to the right, the building to the right. And then there's something called the Rabbi's Tunnel that extends from the Western Wall. There's even a note up there that says, by strict order of the rabbi, you can't go up there because it's holy ground. And you got to be purified. And you would need the ashes of the red heifer to do that. But already the Jews are wanting to go up there and begin sacrifice. And so you see the pressing need for it. This Rabbi's Tunnel, that's an extension of the Western Wall, this is a picture. Incredible. We take our tours there almost every time we go. There's stones the size of a bus, huge stones. We're not sure how they were put into place, but we know this, they're perfectly matched. And that tunnel was used as a way to get to the Holy of Holies, to get up on the Temple Mount so that a priest wouldn't be contaminated as he walked across the top of it. Incredible things are taking place because those tunnels, as they discover more and more in there, many people think that artifacts from the temple, when Rome destroyed it, could have been stored in those passageways or in the caverns, the rooms that are there. We're going to learn a little bit about that. And so here, a familiar site, the Temple Mount, the Western Wall, now the Rabbi's Tunnel. It's been explored and discovered. It's incredible. I think it leads right to where you can find a path straight into the Holy of Holies. But here's an overview map. And those red areas are where underground spaces are. But now they're beginning to find some other incredible tunnels that are there. As you narrow in on that, I want you to see that some of these exciting places that they're excavating have to do with helping to locate other passageways that lead to the Temple Mount and may even lead to how they had water up there for the sacrifices. The sacrifices required lots of water. And they would take it from the Pool of Siloam. They would bring the water of life, as they say, to put with their sacrifices. So now, let's take a look at a video clip of some people. By the way, this whole clip is over 30 minutes long. I'm only going to show you 2 or 3 segments of it. Go to our webpage. You'll be able to find the entire video. I can guarantee you it'll be the most fascinating 30 minutes you've watched. But here's the search for another underground passageway. It would be parallel to the rabbi's tunnel. It would also prove that they brought water needed for sacrifices up on top of the temple. Again, they think those will be useful as we come to the time when the red heifer will be slaughtered and the ashes brought there for purification, and they begin sacrifices again. Here's clip number 1.
So one of our reliable sources told us that there's this ancient mysterious tunnel running 40 feet underground the old city of Jerusalem. And supposedly, if you follow it through, you're going to reach all the way to the Temple Mount. So we immediately started looking for videos online about it, but we found none. It's like there's almost nobody out there who knows about this place. But there is this very old church built on top of one of the entrances to the tunnel. But what are the chances that this is still there? So we reached out to the church and we asked them. And they said, yes, the entrance is still there and it's accessible. Guys, this is going to be huge. Today, we will be embarking on one of the wildest missions we've ever filmed on this channel. We'll be going to the heart of Jerusalem, beneath one of the most sacred places on earth, the Temple Mount. It's been known for a while that there is a hidden system of tunnels beneath it, and that they have been used as secret escape routes during the destruction of the temple. And there are even theories that some of these underground passages have hidden chambers where the Jews hid the Temple Mount treasures, some suggesting the Ark of the Covenant itself. But here's the problem. The tunnel we'll be going to is 40 feet underground and almost completely devoid of oxygen, making it too dangerous for humans to explore. So we built a high-tech rover to go where no one else can go. It took us 6 months to design, construct, and test, and now it's ready for action.
Oh yeah, see what I mean? This is incredible. My friend, do you see the interest that's taking place all over the world? From China to America to Canada to Israel, the Islamic world, everyone's concentrating now on the Temple Mount. That's what the Bible said would be in the last days. Well, let's join them as they take their little robot, their mechanical car robot, they put it down in that tunnel. Like I say, the entire video is posted on our website. You're going to enjoy that, but here's a small clip of it. Watch this exploration.
This is going to get interesting.
We cleared the first rocks, but these...
Okay, these are... Okay, let's see how we can tackle them. Probably...
To the right and then the left, I think.
Yeah. Gosh, this is not what we expected.
There are a lot of rocks here. It almost looks like there was a collapse that happened here recently, because I don't remember reading about these rocks or seeing them in the survey from 2001.
Are we giving this a try? I think it's just here and then it's clear again. We'll give it a try to the right, yeah.
There.
Not
really.
Okay,
let's give it a little...
That was pretty quick.
He can go backwards, babe, then we can...
Our celebrations were short-lived. Unfortunately, just a few more inches and we were stuck in between deep rocks.
Oh my gosh, look at how big that one. Babe, we won't be able to go through this.
We're stuck like between two walls, I think.
So we'll...
Gosh, I can't even pull the car out of there now because it's like stuck somewhere in the rock.
We switched to the back camera to see what's happening, and the situation looks even worse than we originally anticipated. Not only is the rover stuck from going forward, but also we're no longer able to even pull it back. This is a disaster.
Well, the tunnels are real. The potential for hiding treasures there, including those that were involved with temple worship in 70 AD when the Romans destroyed Israel, those are real. All this because there's a fascination with beginning religious practices on the Temple Mount. Yes, the little car is stuck there. Well, there's a plan to get it out. We're going to look at just a little bit of that. And then I'm going to invite you to go to our website, look at the whole thing. But do you understand? The interest, the worldwide interest in this is exactly what the Bible said would be in the last days.
So we were off to open the second shaft to the tunnel. This one is located in the back of the courtyard, behind the church. Once again, the key had been lost, so the only way to get in was to cut the padlock. And now, for the second time in a single day, we were staring down an ancient shaft that hasn't been opened for a very long time. The idea is simple. The first person will stand above the first shaft and pull on the original cord, making a strong tension on the cable with the car. The second person will lower a new cable with a hook down on the second shaft, latch it onto the cable, and then pull up. This should provide a new tension angle on the cord and possibly set the rover free. So we got this hook. We're gonna drop this in here and try and pull out the other cable, which should be much closer to the rover, to the robot, than from our first spot. We decided to drop down a light to have better visibility. Once the light is safely secure on the bottom, we then drop down a GoPro to gauge the situation in the tunnel. We're gonna lower a GoPro down there and examine it with a live link, so let's do that. As the GoPro reached the bottom, we realized the flashlight was not powerful enough.
It gets
It's
really
so dark, it's impossible to see.
Yeah, like
I wish we had a flashlight that was, everywhere. Yeah. Do you guys have any flashlight that goes everywhere? We've got a big projector light that's gonna light up the whole thing. We can lower that down. That'll give us some good lighting down there. The projector light gave us all the light we needed.
Wow, look at that light.
Yeah.
Oh, I see both cables. There's the other one.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it is. That's it. You see it?
Yeah.
Now is the real
Deal.
Yeah, oh, perfect.
You got it.
I want to pull from here. This is the moment of truth.
Did it break?
So our hook got disconnected. So we're gonna go and
We're
improvising it from a broken lock. Let's give it a try. We lowered our makeshift padlock hook into the tunnel and did our best to grab hold of the cable.
There, pull,
Yes. Okay. Hold the tension.
Thank
Hold the tension.
I'm holding.
It is now the testing time. You ready? Will this recovery work or fail?
Well, there's boulders, and then it fell over it, and then now it's trying to pull it through the boulders. Like while you pull, can you watch the other end, like your
If
camera?
there's still battery, I could try.
It'd be interesting to see what it's seeing while you're pulling.
Yeah. Okay. Can somebody hold it?
Say something. It's spinning up in the camera.
Maybe we can see something.
Okay.
Was the rover still feeding video to the laptop? We had to find out, but at this point, our options were running out.
Yeah, unfortunately, the rover got stuck in the tunnel. Or they're going to have another plan to try to retrieve it. My point is this. Christ could come before they ever begin to sacrifice. It's the idea that in the last days, we know they're going to return to sacrifice. We know this. In the last days, the Bible predicted that Israel would return to the land. They have. They would want to do sacrifices. They are. They would make the preparation. And we know this, that sometime between now and the middle of the tribulation, they're going to start sacrifices. Here's why. The Bible says that in the middle of the tribulation, the Antichrist will stop the sacrifice. My friend, this says that Christ could come at any time. You understand this is exactly what the Bible said would be true? Hosea chapter 3, verses 4 and 5. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, without a prince, without a sacrifice. Yeah. Or a sacrifice pillar, and without an ephod, without a teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return, seek the Lord their God, and David their king, and they shall fear the Lord in his goodness in the latter days. We're living in those days. My friend, that's why I say I'm not really looking for ashes. I'm not really going to build a third temple. They may, that's okay. I'm not trying to root against them. But my hope is Christ. My hope is in the finished work of Jesus Christ 2,000 years ago on the cross. He's the blessed hope. But my friend, I want you to see that everything that the Bible said would take place in the last days has come true exactly as the Bible said. The very next thing could well be the coming of Christ in the air saying, come up here, you that are believers. I want to know this. Are you ready? Are you ready? If Christ comes today, we can't guarantee you another day, another week, another 2 years, 5 years, 20 years, or some say 50 years. No, Christ could come today, or you could meet death today. But here's what I do know, that Jesus Christ on the cross took my sin penalty. He died a death that was mine. He gave me the gift of salvation. He gave me his righteousness, and he wants to give you his righteousness. He wants you to accept his death as payment for your sin. My friend, then you will go from mourning to hope. Your hope will be Christ, not in a red cow, not in a third temple, not in the politicians trying to negotiate pieces. No, you'll be ready because Christ could come at any minute. If you know Christ, then share this with others. If you don't know Christ, settle it today. And if you have questions, then I invite you to go to our website, because I have a book. This book talks about what's next on God's plan. It takes 6 topics, including the red heifer, and talks about how they fit into the end time scenario. I think you'll enjoy the book. I think you'll learn from the book. I think the book will help you point to Jesus as our eternal salvation. There's another book that I think you'll really enjoy. It's by my good friend Brad Keating, Tribulation Tragedy. It talks about the conditions in the tribulation. My friend, when you read this book, you're going to see why you don't want to go into the tribulation. You don't have to if you accept Christ today. Well, I know our show has been longer than normal, but I hope you're as excited as I am about what's taking place all around the world. We're watching things take place exactly as the Bible says. Today is the day to be ready to meet Christ. Are you ready? Do you know Christ? If not, accept him now. Thank you for watching. God bless you.